They have already started removing the barriers. I think it was announced that the proprietors have until the 14th to have this removed for the parade route. I kept asking and wondering about this, like so many other folks, but they had been kind of tight-lipped about it for some reason. Love the city, hate the politics here. Hey folks, how you doing? Welcome back. It is Charlie. It is Friday morning, December 17, 2021. It's about 10:05 or so in the morning, and it's a cool 55 degrees here. As you can see from the last video, that was about a week or so ago, they were in the process, and they are in a hurry to get things all prepped up, and looks like they're restriping. Honestly, down over on Fair Oaks and on a lot of the streets, as of actually about maybe a couple of weeks ago, street crews and city maintenance and road workers and what have you have been well, they've been busy, redoing and stuff like that. I think I think Pasadena, with most of their colleagues or other cities, got their allowances from Daddy Joe Biden and started accelerating and get the whole infrastructure. We certainly do need it here in Pasadena, but what we need it more is on the sidewalks, especially for some of the trees that we have that are so old and everything, have just uprooted and raised a lot of the concrete forms. Anyway, I had been wondering also if this was going to abolish the outdoor dining. And from what I can tell from the painters, it is going to abolish the outdoor, at least here in Colorado. It looks like they're doing away with the outdoor dining because they are restriping. They put in the lines over here, so that means that they are doing the diagonal parking here. So, but on the side streets, it looks like they're still there, which, that's not so bad, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Things tend to change quite a bit, especially down over on, further down on Colorado, over by Lake. They were busy pulling up the K-rails and everything, and traffic was pretty bad because they had the big semi flatbeds and the huge crane that takes a while to lift those heavy concrete and steel reinforced thingies. All right, let's cross real quick. I just got from I had to come down over here by Huntington Hospital and refill my prescriptions because they didn't have what I needed at my pharmacy. So I was told. Yeah, you can see some of the outdoor dining still remains in place. A couple of other places too. So, that's not so bad. Probably also maybe on Union. But, the smaller streets, that's acceptable. But here, yeah, definitely. Because if you remember from that one video that I was on this side of the street, kind of questioning, that gentleman also asked me, and I didn't really know. They did say Pasadena is so... Hey, you know what? Chime in on that. How is your city with not really being informed of what's going on? Because they really weren't too clear on what they were going to do. They said that they were going to be removing, but there was no time period as to when they were going to do this. So, you know, a lot of people were just a little confused, and it's like we're getting close to the parade date. In fact, we hadn't even seen any of the stands, the grandstands, being erected. There is over here at the Orange Grove, and they did those really, really quickly. Normally, I would have to say, sometime within the first week or so of December. Sometimes in some of the years, they actually started it in late November. That they were actually starting to put some of the grandstands up and everything, mainly up on Orange Grove and Colorado, which is where the big ones are. And then in some of the smaller properties over here by the Methodist Church, they did the Presbyterian Church, but there's not really too many. Now, the rules have kind of changed a little bit, of course. Normally, the day before the parade starts, up until 12 o'clock, you can actually start kind of more or less lining up, let's say like right around here, but you can't mark anything until 12 o'clock the day before. Then you can start marking up your little territory, wherever you're going to be. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, sometime around maybe 3 or 5 in the afternoon or evening, then they can allow people to move up to the courtesy line. And this is the blue courtesy line right here, as you can see, because you'll be able to go from the sidewalk here up here, and that's as far as you can go. There was actually even some of the rumors, the first rumors actually that they were going to say that they were going to do, is that they were going to line up the entire, well, some sections of Colorado with the K-bars so people wouldn't go over. And as traditionally, sometimes when flowers fall off and roses fall off the floats, people like to rush to the middle of the street and pick them up and everything. So I don't think that's going to be permissible. Now, some of the rules are that if you're going to be ticketing, if you buy a ticket, you have to show proof, have vaccination proof 72 hours before, and or have your card or everything say that you're fully vaccinated. Show 2 negative tests. Ooh, I like that red. It shows up better in the camera. So there's that. They're not going to check anybody on the parade route. See, here's where the devil comes into play. But you do have to have proof and everything before you do tickets on the grandstand, or especially over here on TV Row. I'm hoping that I could be here that morning so I can film. But I want to get closer to TV Row. So basically what they're saying is, if you have the money, I'm kind of reading this in between the lines. So if you have the money, you can pay to afford to have the tickets and everything. You could afford to have a vaccination, and you can afford to be one of their lemmings. But here, where there are no grandstands, whether you're vaccinated or not, and they're not going to enforce the mask rules, they're not going to check. So here, where the poor people can't afford tickets for the grandstands, can more or less mix and mingle. But people that have money are being more protected. See, I don't get that. I know I'm travel down the rabbit hole too much, but yeah. But that's the way it is. They're not going to enforce rules here on the sidewalks and anything like that. And honestly, it'd be a bit of impracticality and damn near impossible to do so. Here, this is just past Pasadena, headed west on Colorado. Normally, this section of the overpass of the freeway here, we would have had grandstands. So I'm kind of thinking that most folks weren't too sure or very apprehensive as to whether or not we were going to have the Rose Parade. And honestly, a lot of us here in Pasadena were, even though we were told that there was going to be, they had the green light and everything. But things still, you know, still things happen sometimes, and all of a sudden rapid closures happen. But they did. So I'm thinking maybe people just weren't too sure and didn't want to spend the money as far as having the closure and then not get their money refunded back to them in time or at all. But yeah, normally right here, and there would be a small narrow space right here where the sidewalk was open. But I'm thinking more or less people just didn't really have the money, you know, and if they're going to attend, they're gonna attend the cheap and easy freeway, you know, and that's just bear down over here on the sidewalk. So I've done the grandstands over here a couple times. The most recent was with okay, what was that, 2009? Yeah, for 2010, I believe. It's my wife, my daughter, and I, and we were over there under the KTLA just right after the grand turn on TV Row. But yeah, I don't see anything. I think it's just makes more sense that people just didn't have the money. Okay, so now here we are in front of the beautiful Norton Simon Museum, and in front of, I believe, the Elks. This is Camera Row. This is also, I believe, partially where the judging occurs. A lot of the musical productions and stage productions occur here. And as it further progresses down the road, it gets less and less. By the time they reach mile number 4 or 5, these folks are really tired. I think since most people hadn't bought tickets, I'm kind of thinking we are going to have a huge turnout just in foot pedestrians, and I wouldn't say double, but maybe 15-20% more people on the sidewalk. I mean, it is kind of fun. That's kind of fun too, but it's going to be a real hassle, I think, this year. But they actually got all these stands up in no time. Lickety split. And then up there is where they erect the booths and the mini towers for a lot of the channels. I think Channel 5 is either here or down over there. No, actually, we were down over on that side, facing Orange Grove. This is the beautiful Norton Simon Museum. I shall try to put a link also down here, and also try to put a link down for sharp seating. I think the average, well, when we last attended, well, there you go. I think that when we last attended, just general tickets were about 86 adult, 67 child, I want to say. But since the wife was working for the Pasadena Convention Center, we had tickets for free, so that was really nice. And here normally, I hope they do, But normally right up there, they have the big red rose. Such a beautiful museum in here. I remember going back to the 70s and seeing Candace Burton doing commercials for Norton Simon. Dea, Goya, Rembrandt, Picasso. They're all here, all at one place, the Norton Simon Museum. So come on down and check everything out. I remember that. I mean, I was like 7, 8 years old, and I remember those commercials, and I'm like, I want to go there. It is beautiful in there. There's kind of a nice little atrium center in there, with a little garden. It's quite nice. It's quite lovely. And they're still busy. Look at that. Yeah, they're still busy. They're doing a damn good job, you know, in the short amount of time that they've had. There we go. But I'll still put a link down below. But in case I forget. Yeah, I don't know what tickets were this year, but most certainly. And this is the famous Colorado and Orange Grove turn. That's south on Orange Grove. And that's where everybody lines up in order of the processions, whether your floats, marching bands, equestrian units, all the way down past the tournament house where I did the one video. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, and sometimes you get to see a lot of the talent warming up and doing their performances while they're waiting. But this turn right here is kind of a predicament right here. They actually have to train to be able to make this turn, even though it's a quite wide turn. But and we do have the occasional floats that do break down. I think the one prior to the Nightmare, it was a train float that I was really looking forward to. I think it didn't make it, so it had to get towed. I wasn't sure if it got towed away or towed down the route. Sometimes when they break down the route, they still tow them all the way down to where the parking event is. Yeah. Yeah, it was over here, because I remember the bathrooms were down here, so we had to come down over here and take turns and use the bathroom because we had the babies. And they do treat you very well. They have kind of a continental type of breakfast. They have donuts and coffee and chocolate and other snacks for, hey, it's a lot of money. Especially down, doggone it, I knew I was gonna miss it. Rats. But honestly, yeah, I mean, actually, I do prefer the street, but if you can afford it, one time up here is kind of nice because you get to see from an unobstructed view up there. And sometimes if you're like shorter than I do and in the past trying to film, it's a bit hard. You gotta squeeze your way through. But yeah, this is it, folks. This is the route. I don't think there's been any credible threats, but I do kind of fear for the parade. Not so much as here in this area. Look, when we have the Rose Parade, we have a large presence and engagement of almost every policing force and agency that you can think of. We do have terrorist units, we do have bomb squads, we even have the FBI. And occasionally, when you go on your, what do you call it? On your Wi-Fi finder, you can actually see the CIA. So yeah, just my biggest fear is not so much as, you know, maybe someone coming shooting down. It's just having another incident of, God forbid, of Wisconsin. So yeah. But there's the Elks Lodge. I've never been in there. I don't think I've ever been in there. But it is beautiful. I've seen it from TV and everything. From news clips and everything. But that's it, yeah. And they have all the new thingies up there, the flags. And further down on Colorado, they have other small little triangle flags. But this is it. I wanted to show you this because I hadn't been able to a lot has happened in the last week or so. Not good, and I can't really, I mean, bad, but I can't really think of, other than finally getting every single prescription that I needed to get. Boy, I got to cut my hair. Holy cow. I will update on that. It's frankly just, it's exhausting. It's very exhausting. So I wanted to show this because I have another couple of quick projects that I want to do and film before the actual parade and everything. So I got to get up to La Cañada, and I got to go down to South Pasadena, and probably, maybe, don't quote me on this, don't hold me to this, maybe El Monte or Azusa, because there's a couple of places over there that are associated and tied with the rose floats. All right, my friends, from Pasadena, Colorado Boulevard, the Rose Parade 2022 route, soon to be here. You folks take care of yourselves, take care of each other, but always take care of yourselves first. Love one another, trust one another, be kind to each other, help one another. Don't take today for granted or any other day thereafter. Seriously. Pull down your pants and slide on that ice. Make ice. Find ice. And if you don't have any ice, shit, just pull down your pants and walk around. Who cares? Oh, and this route right here, if you do happen to be on your way over here, you're going to attend, or you ever want to come, this route in here in particular is one of the most busiest routes. Because what they do is, now I know things are going to change quite a bit, but towards the back, usually that's where you would get your coffee and your hot chocolate and stuff like that. And then you would come to the register, and it was kind of based on an honor system. You would pay at the register for what you had. It wasn't always like that because a lot of people would quickly consume their drinks and just leave it on the shelves and everything. But this right here is the last place where you want to get your snacks and everything. Definitely a very, very busy route. All right, folks, comments, good or bad, please post, and well, I'll upload this as soon as I can. I love you all. Bye-bye.